I'm just going to hand over to Scott, basically. So Scott is the Director of Material Focus, who administer the funds raised through the WEEE compliance fee paid into by producer compliance schemes when they're unable to meet their collection targets. Material Focus are responsible for several successful campaigns, including the Recycle Your Electricals campaign, and they've recently just launched their Circular Electricals Fund, which is what Scott is here to talk to you about today. So I'll hand over to Scott now. Thanks.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, so in this session, just surprised, these slides look different to the ones that I submitted. So I'll work through it, but I'll figure that out later. So we're going to talk a little bit of introduction to who we are and the overview of the fund and some Q&A. So next slide, please. Again, apologies, none of the formatting seems to have come through, but Material Focus, you may have heard of us. We're an independent not-for-profit. Our mission is to get the UK fixing, donating and recycling all of their old and wanted electricals. And that's because they're full of really precious resources that we're currently losing too many of them to the bins. So we work in three main areas. We have an insight strand, which is where we gather evidence and information that guides a lot of what we do. And we share that out with the UK WEEE system stakeholders too. And that can be anything from critical raw material recovery technologies to public perceptions on all things to do with electricals. We have an investment strand where we identify and fund projects to make it easier for people to do what we want them to do. So that's over 62 projects that we funded with local authority and community groups, helping over 10 million people across the UK have easier access. And that's what we've been working on over the last 3 or 4 years. And then we have our inspiration strand. So you may have heard of our HypnoCat, you may have seen the Recycle Your Electricals campaign, you may have seen any numbers that you've seen on vapes have come from the work that we've done, Draw of Doom and all those other things. And everything is telling us that it's working. In 2024, 16 million more small electricals were recycled than were in 2023. In 2023, 12 million more than in 2022. So we're starting to see traction and we're starting to see change. But I'm not here to talk to you about that today. I'm here to talk to you about something else. Next slide, please. So you've all seen these diagrams of a circular economy. This is our brand spanking new version of the one that we're saying best represents what's happening with circular electricals. I won't go into too much detail here, but it's basically the classic sort of circular economy flow from the mining of new materials through the making, the selling, the use, and then what happens with the end of life. And we've just added a couple of loops in here where what happens when you, instead of recycling, you can fix, donate or resell, and you can move that back into use or back into remanufacture too. And what we're trying to do, of course, is prevent as much losses from the system and also design products for longevity, for durability, and to use the right sorts of materials too. Next slide, please. So what is the Circular Electricals Fund? So this is a new £1 million fund which is focusing on new ideas around keeping electricals and their materials in use for longer. We're looking for innovation with impact. We're looking for fresh ideas. And as you will probably tell, we like our threes. And the three areas that we're looking for in the Circular Electrical Fund are projects to do with materials. So looking at the use and recovery of materials more efficiently and effectively. We're looking at product design. How do you make electricals more durable, repairable, upgradable, long lasting? And also we're looking at business models. So this is everything as a service that promotes more reuse, sharing and overall waste reduction and the less use of materials. Next slide. So this is again going into that a little bit further. What we're looking for on the materials side, some of those ideas could be advanced recycling technologies, could be bio-based solutions, modular designs for recycling, closed loop supply chains, all words that many of you will be aware of and be thinking about. Product design is around repairability and modularity. It could include right to repair initiatives. It could be upgrade friendly designs. And then business models are where we would look at trade-in, refurbishment, sharing platforms, dare I say, deposit return schemes. Potentially, there's a lot of conversation around whether the solution to the vapocalypse, as we call it, could be a deposit return scheme rather than as a way of motivating take back. Next slide. So this is an example of some of the things that we've come across. We're not advocating for these. We're just using this as a way to communicate to potential bidders the kind of stuff that we see fitting under our new Circular Electricals Fund. So this is an organization called Jiva Materials, and they've made a printed circuit board that's fully recyclable. They claim it has 16% lower carbon footprint. The copper-clad laminate can be dissolved in hot water rather than requiring any chemical processing. And it's basically, they're claiming that compared to a traditional printed circuit board, this is much more efficient. It requires less of that energy intensive recovery that is used to recover materials from standard printed circuit boards. Next slide. Kibu, this is a sort of some of you may have seen this, particularly people with children. So this is looking at children's headphones, and they're basically using 3D printed plastics. It's repairable. There's a DIY kit in there, so it's really about not just the product itself, but it's about how they engage with their customers and with their communities, and really hopefully to encourage a more broader circular perspective when it comes to other products that they may be looking to buy and use in the future. Next slide, please. And this is Turn.eco, and this is basically a sort of platform that can be used to manage a trade-in or a returns program. So this is sort of an interface that is available to other organizations who may want to add, you know, more returnability, more circularity to their product and service offer. As I said, we're not advocating for any of these. We're just using it as an example to promote thinking and getting people to generate their own ideas. Next slide, please. So who is this for? Pretty much everyone other than an individual. So it could be any registered organization with Companies House, it could be industry bodies, it could be not-for-profits, private companies, compliance schemes, producers. We're really encouraging collaboration as well. So it'd be really nice to have potentially somebody potentially from a more academic or research background tying up with a retailer or a producer to propose a new proposal to us. And the applications are open now, but next slide I think might have the timelines on that. Oh, but we'll get to it eventually. The offer itself, funding is up to £150,000 per project, we think. So if you do the maths, we're looking at 6 or 7 projects there. There will be a sort of network that we would build from these projects. So we're going to encourage cross collaboration between the live projects. We offer communication support. One of the things that we are definitely very good at is communicating, and we can help get these projects out into the spaces there where they will get real benefits from. And also through working with us, we do a lot of work on insights and trends, and we can sort of help them, guide them with all of the stuff that we've got available. Next slide. This is just a run through of how we will assess applications. Just bear in mind as well, I'll flag it here. I think I'll flag it later. We do have a webinar next week for anyone who's interested, where we will talk through these things in a little bit more detail. I'm very conscious of time here. But basically, we will look at whether the proposals align with circular economy principles. Is it innovative, but is it feasible? What is the environmental and the social impact? Do we think the business model is strong and could it be scaled? What about the team and their expertise? Obviously, it needs to be financially sound, and that needs to be set out clearly. What are the expected outcomes? What are we going to measure? What is the impact of this project? And how is that project going to be managed? And what are the expectations of various partners and the expectations of us in relation to delivering it? Next slide. And here's the timeline. So we launched on the 14th of May. Applicants webinar is on the 11th of June. We hope to, well, the close for that will be 14th of August. So it's like a 3-month, May, June, July, August, 3-month window. Judging in early August, hoping to announce everything in September. And then, of course, the real work begins, which is getting the T's and C's signed off. So we're saying that we will begin that work around September, October, and hopefully we can close. Well, hopefully we get many successful bids and we can close that admin off sooner rather than later. Next slide, please. And in terms of the judging panel, we've brought together a number of experts, so I'll be on there. But from N2S, we have Andy Gomersall, who's a sort of biotech electricals entrepreneur, also ex-England rugby player, Rugby World Cup winner. We've got Yewande Akinola, who's a Professor of Engineering at various institutions, is well respected, does a lot of work with Innovate UK. We've got Asad Hamir, who's co-founded a small IT asset management organization in London, and really has quite an innovative and sort of different take on how more and more businesses should take advantage of managed IT support and services rather than just buying their laptops and figuring it out for themselves. Next slide. We've got Peter Moody, who is the group CEO of a great organization in the northeast of England called GAP, who do lots of work, not least around the recycling of electricals, both small electricals and appliances too, and is also involved in some innovative projects. And they recently opened a new plant in Perth. Teresa Arbuckle as well, who's the managing director of Beko UK and Ireland, the largest appliance seller in the UK, so brings with her that big, corporate side of experience. And then myself, just to make sure that they all play along nicely with each other at that point. But I've got 20 years experience of working in this sector.